Hey everybody, it's Paige from Mosaic Moments, and I have another episode of Design Breakdown for you. And today I have a 2-page spread that shows the 2x4 angles die. So let's talk about what is working about this page and why it stands out. Well, first of all, if I look over here, this is a very nice symmetrical design. And that's going to stand out, and it's really nice to have everything equally around the layout, and the 2x4 angles die really does that so easily, because if you want to get that diamond shape, you're going to have that going all the way around the layout. And so I recommend when using the angles die in each of these 4 corners to repeat the same things over again. In this case, Jody, I forgot to mention Jody was the designer of this layout. And she chose to have 3x3 squares in each corner, but you could do something a little different, like a 2x2 with little 1x1 and 1x2 in the corner here as well for a different look. But I can see that the 3x3 was a good choice because it allowed her to crop her photos a little bit bigger. And on this layout, I really love this pattern paper. It's this really nice plaid pattern paper that goes around her focal point here. Again, it repeats around the layout equally. And this layout feels very balanced, and I love how even in the angles die, she repeats the same exact pattern papers over and over again. So this layout does not feel overly busy because she kept her paper choices consistent. On this layout, we have a 3-column layout, which is also a very nice design. It's not perfectly symmetrical, which I actually kind of like. I kind of like that we have this perfectly symmetrical layout over here. And for the 2-page spread, it is nice to do something a little bit different. This isn't to say you couldn't do something else symmetrical over here, but on your 2nd page, it's nice to have a little variety from the previous one. So that's why we suggest using pinwheel patterns. So pinwheel, you would have something like this in the middle, and then everything would rotate around it. In this case, it is a 2-column layout, but it still works just fine because there is that variety. What partially helps is there is no photo in the center. That's not to say you couldn't do that, but we don't encourage recreating the same size focal point on the 2nd layout, because then your eyes are going to be competing. So you really, for design, it's really important to make one of the layouts kind of a focal point layout. Over here, she added 2 photos with the 4x5 basic dies, and it looks great. I like that she was able to use 2 larger photos on this 2nd layout that were even bigger than this one. And I like that they actually are not exactly symmetrical. This one's up a little higher and this one's lower. And that creates interest for your eye on this layout, especially again, since we have this symmetrical design. So just something to think about, getting a pinwheel design, or maybe even a row pattern or column pattern like this one where there's a little variety. And I do love what she did on this layout here. She has this really nice sticker. She repeats the plaid paper from before. I like that there's something a little different here than just the photo. I know it doesn't always work out, and it would still look amazing with the photograph in this spot, but I do like that there's something a little bit different. And that's where embellishments can be really handy, is giving your eye a break from all the photos. So if you ever feel like your page looks a little too busy, you may want to take one of these photo spots and turn it into a journaling spot, or a spot like this one where she added a sticker. And of course, along this column, she has photos. These were taken in Banff in Canada, which is really pretty. And I love how she was able to add these details down this line as well. And I do love the angles dies on this layout. They are perfectly symmetrical. I like that these 2 in the middle here are slightly different, and the angles are still there. They still tie into the 1st page and create this amazing alignment with this one. All right, I think that's all I have for you today. So just to recap a little bit, it's really nice on a 2-page spread to repeat the same die, but not use it in the same exact way. So over here we have the diamond shape, and this one is a little bit different where they're just in the same column, but don't make any diamond shape. That can work great too. We also have the same pattern paper used and the same colors so everything feels very harmonious, but we also want to have a little variety on our second layout and not repeat everything over again. So that will make an eye-appealing two-page spread. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if anything stuck out to you, and I will see you next time.